how to develop an employee training program. By the end of this video, you're gonna have a simple, implementable outline to build a business that can run and grow with or without you. You ever try to take time off, but you're frustrated that the business just kind of stops when you're gone? Are you tired of the endless emotional and financial hamster wheel of people just coming in and leaving? Do you feel like you're Taco Bell of turnover? You got a new staff every 4 months. Most of us as business owners, we want a business that can run and grow with or without us. Truth is, in the last 3 years, I have taken each year anywhere between 14 and 30 days away from our business. Now, some of you are like, oh yeah, I could do that. No, you didn't hear me right. I left the business with no cell phone, no email, and no text message. Nobody within our company could get in touch with me over those days that I was away. In fact, this past year, I left for 14 days with my son who just graduated college, and he and I went and hiked the El Camino together. This was 9 days on the trail hiking with my son on the El Camino from Portugal to Spain, and we walked about 140 miles together, anywhere between 13 miles to 21 miles in one day. So we had a lot of time together. That was a lot of time that distraction could have crept in. I could have been staring at my email instead of walking with my son. But instead, I didn't miss that time. I got that time with him, and not only that, but my team got the joy and the satisfaction to be able to run and grow the business while I was gone. You heard that right. They actually grew the business in number of clients while I was out of pocket. So how do you do that? Investing in your team. It's giving back into your team. What, just like cash, money? No, I didn't say anything about that. It's reinvesting this idea of professional development and training back into your team. So you might look at this idea of employee training and development and go, intellectually, I know I've got to do this, but the reality is, hey, I don't know how, and quite frankly, I'm kind of skeptical, and I think it's a little bit of a joke. Well, if we just look around at some of the biggest companies in the world, you think, where is their genius? Well, their genius, and one of the ways they got big is because they've got world-class training and development programs. I used to work with Pfizer for a number of years way back in the day, and much of our both startup and ongoing had to do with ongoing training. We trained relentlessly around things like disease states, medical terminology, and also messaging, because I was in the marketing and sales side of things. And so we trained over and over again. Even in our small business right now, we have a team of 12 at the time of this. And the reality is with our team of 12, we train somewhere between 80 and 100 hours per year for each employee that's there, just in our small little business. We're reinvesting. And so it allows me to leave the business and for this business to run and grow with or without me. Because I've laid down the direction. We train on that direction with repetition, predictability, and meaning. And with that, the team starts to bring that up. And here's the beauty of it. Over time, they actually start doing the thing better than I would have done it myself. I want to give you a practical example of this because we really do have to ask ourselves, hey, what's the point? Like, what's the point of employee training and development? One of the things we have every one of our clients do is to actually write down a vision story. This is a detailed snapshot of the future of their business on multiple pages and in multiple categories. So we have them look at the term of their vision, how far out. We also have them identify what they want their family and their freedom to look like. Well, I thought it was a business vision. It is. Life and business necessarily intersect. Why are we building these businesses if we're not going to have a life to go with it? And so we start there. Then we dive into things like their financials, then their team, their product, their ideal client, their culture, all of these categories that we're identifying as what does that look like out there? It's a detailed snapshot of the future of your vision. And so we have one of those as our business. Now we're on version 10.0. We're just over 10 years old at this point. I've refreshed it every year for 10 years. But just like a pump station on the water system in your town, it's not good enough for it to just come out of the water tower. It's got to have pump stations along the way to reinforce the water pressure so it comes into your house so you can take a shower. You can drink some water. Well, the way training operates is like that as well. So let me give you the example on our vision story. So I wrote our initial vision story in 2015. Every year, throughout the year, I review it, and then about every October, November, I refresh it and update it to make sure it's ready to go for the next year. Now this year, we actually rewrote it all together. It's a brand new vision for the next 3 years for our business. But what's that pump station to reinforce it? Well, this is a part of our employee training and development program. We do something all throughout the year, 6 times a year, called a Vision Day. Now remember, I'm just giving you this as an example of what to do. So Vision Day for us is 1 hour. It happens every other month. And instead of team meeting that week, we do Vision Day. And what I do is I literally take our vision, I reread it to our team. Now it's multiple pages, kind of feels like story time in kindergarten. And our vision actually has pictures. I put artwork. I'm a big Van Gogh guy, so I put some artwork in there. And so we've got this artwork that's in there to kind of visualize what I've written down. And then every 2 months, I read back through it And then I give a series of what we call green, yellow, and reds. Greens are the things that I see in our business that are going really well. Yellows, these are things, we kind of need to be aware of. And the reds, these are things that will take us down if we don't get them fixed ASAP. Now, as a rule, I always have more greens than yellows, more yellows than reds. So just be aware of that. I'm a guy prone to pessimism, and so I'm tending to have more reds than I do yellows and more yellows than I do greens. So I got to flip that. I'm married to a 7 on the Enneagram who's an eternal optimist. And so we need to have more greens than anything else. So that's an example of a way you can take something very purposeful, meaningful, and then put repetition to it. So you've got it over and over and over again. You begin to invest that into your team. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're like, God, how much does this stuff cost? Well, obviously your time, but I want to give you a figure that I think will be very concrete and helpful. Whenever we're looking to budget a person's salary for our business, or for anybody's business that we work with, we always put a 26% fee on top. What does that mean? Well, you got to pay things like payroll taxes, which is usually around 7, 8, 9%. Then you got to have space for them to work that you wouldn't have if they weren't working there. There might be materials, hardware, a variety of different things that are there. There could be perks and benefits that you would not be paying if that person were not there. And so we put a tag on everybody's time over and above their salary. So let's say they're making $100,000 a year, just for round number. The business is actually probably paying around $120,000 to $130,000 a year. Now the 26% is not a magical number. I actually got that from a financial advisor years and years ago, and it's always seemed to work with that. But if you want to put a marker on it, how much does it actually cost to train a person? I don't know that anybody could tell you exactly, but I do know that whatever you're paying a person in their base salary, add somewhere around 25 to 30% on top, and that'll give you a general rule of any additional things you might be paying and also the investment that you're putting in from a time, training, and development standpoint. Now, this is where you really might get stuck and you go, what do I train them? Like, do I go buy a John Maxwell book and just like make them read it? Do I go, what do I do? Well, the good news is, and I actually have a great video on where the majority of your training can come from. It actually comes from you. So I want you to click on the video that's in the description link below and take action to walk through how you can actually create a training around that based on the information that's existing right in the building right now. Typically what we're going to do is we're going to create something called a master process roadmap. And for the sake of simplicity, just get out a scratch sheet of paper with a pen, and I want you to turn it over and put 4 columns at the top: marketing, sales, operations, and administration or accounting. And with those 4 core systems, you're going to start to write down every process that's in there, and there's an outline for your training. Another little hack, if you already have a handbook for your company, that entire handbook is training material for what you're doing. The biggest gap is just taking the process roadmap and the processes that exist there and the handbook and mapping it out across 52 weeks. That's the magic of training. It's not that complex. It's very simple, and you can use something as simple as a spreadsheet. In fact, we encourage you to start with a spreadsheet. We don't want you to go into expensive software. There's a lot of off-the-shelf SaaS products right now that'll promise you, hey, we can process this and build this and all of those sorts of things. You don't really need to do that right now. Just start with a spreadsheet. Make it simple, repetitive, predictable, and meaningful. The RPMs of great leadership, and you'll build a wonderful training program all off the information that's currently in-house right now. So write it down in your vision. What's the purpose of this training? Think about the budget. How much will you spend both in hard time and soft time delivering this to your team? Remember, I gave you that 26% fee that's on top of that. And you want to make sure you're doing that and then make it repetitive, predictable, and meaningful. Use a spreadsheet. Take everything you currently have and anything else you want to teach, map it out over 52 weeks, and you're going to have abundant clarity. And guess what? Your people are going to feel that investment. But you know where the ultimate return on this comes from a training standpoint? Is the longevity of your people staying. Go read the story about PALS Sudden Service, P-A-L-S. And at the end, Tom Crosby's asked, they train their employees better than any other fast food service I've ever seen. And he was asked, what happens if you spend all this time and money and these people leave? The truth is, most of his employees are part-time teenagers. They're going to leave. His response, what happens if we don't spend it and they stay? You're going to develop a corrupt culture over time, and you don't want that. You want a culture where you can leave the business and the business runs and grows with or without you, but you've got to create repetitive, predictable, and a meaningful training outline in order to be able to do that. So we talk a lot about the ongoing training and development program, but you know the best way to develop receptive employees to long-term training and development? Train them when they're new employees. This video that I've got for you is the video to train you on how to train new employees. So make sure you click on this, make time to go watch this video, and more importantly, Thomas Edison says vision without implementation is hallucination. So if you're going to go watch my video, go watch it, but then take action. My name's Scott Beebe. We work with business owners between 3 and 100 employees so that you can be liberated from chaos and make time for the things that matter most.